Welcome one, welcome all. On today's segment, we're gonna have a great time with you. I hope you guys are gonna laugh a lot. I don't know what my girl is gonna talk about or say in this whole segment, but this segment is titled Expectations versus Reality. And so I hope that you're expecting this video to be a really good video, and the reality is, it's gonna blow your minds away because it's just gonna be amazing.
So we thought it would be a great opportunity to shoot this video of expectations versus reality because we're 7 months into marriage?
We're 7 months, 4 days, and 2 hours, and 38 minutes, and 23 seconds into our marriage. 4 days. Wait. Yeah, 7 months.
He prepared this, guys. He prepped this before our video.
216
He's
days, y'all.
This is getting my mind.
Thanks to Google, but yeah, expectations versus reality. So what is the order? How do we go about this?
Well, before we go into that, before we get married, a lot of you guys like us, we had our own expectations. I know I had my expectations, but if you've talked to those who are married, because maybe you're watching, you're not married, or maybe you are married, you know that there are expectations versus reality, like expectations that are not reality. Both good and bad things. I wouldn't say bad actually, but just things that are not met. But when you bring it into God's perspective, He turns it around.
Yes. Yeah.
Very good.
So I guess we're just gonna start because I'm curious to know what's in the mind of Gabby in regards to this. And so we've had some time to prepare, and we did not share with one another what these expectations versus reality were, so that the faces that you see here and the emotions, the rawness, it's genuine. This hasn't been premeditated, it has not been rehearsed. And so I think, like a proper gentleman should do, I think I'll let the lady go first.
Okay. So first expectation that I had, and we talked a lot before we got married, Michael used to see me all the time do facials, and we talked about this, and I remember at the time he was like, oh yeah, I can't wait to do facials with you, and being all ecstatic. So my expectation was we're gonna have a slumber party and do facials and have fun. And so what was it, I think a month, I would say 2 months into getting married, because we're 7 months in now, I would say around the 2nd month, I was like, hey babe, do you want to do a facial?
I don't remember that.
And he's legit on his phone, he's like, no.
I don't remember that.
And the only thing he wants to do, I mean, he'll do it, but I have to force him. But the only thing that you will do and that you enjoy doing is a nose stitch.
Hey, you don't gotta force me.
Okay.
I got a little blackheads up in here, you guys. I don't know if you guys see it. Let me get closer to y'all. So you see that right there? There's an army of blackheads that need to be vanquished.
I'll rephrase it. I don't have to force him, but I just have to make him feel bad.
Yeah, but it feels really good. I don't even know what the brand it is, but you just put it on. You put water first, and then you put the thing on, and then after 15 minutes, it's hard as a rock, and then you just go doo, 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 and peel it out, and then you see the nastiness on the actual peel.
Okay, we don't need to hear that.
Yeah.
No.
But anywho,
moving on. Your turn.
Prior to being married, I used to cook a lot, and so it didn't start until college years, where all of a sudden the culinary mind and vision began to unfold, and your boy was cooking fine scrambled eggs with some bacon, put a little cheese on the egg.
I never had that.
All right, this is where the truth comes out,
yeah,
y'all.
This is where the truth.
So we're gonna need some counseling after this. But anywho, having talked to Gabby about everything in regards to how we're gonna do some things in marriage, like cleaning and cooking and all this stuff, I found out that Gabby didn't really, she never really cooked. I mean, she made some great
I
desserts.
laid the expectation out there, though.
Yeah,
I told
she did lay it out.
I never cooked.
She did lay it out. So, but she makes amazing desserts, by the way. She can bake. And what ended up happening was, I expected, I was like, I'll be gracious with you, babe. I'll be able to help you. I'll give you room to explore. That way you can have the kitchen all to yourself, and you can learn how to throw it down like a master chef. But what ended up happening was, I expected it to take a while before I was eating very tasty and very delicious food. But y'all, I've been mistaken. The reality is that my wife can throw down in the kitchen, and so see, this is why I start out with a good one. It's a sandwich effect. You start with a really good expectation versus reality, then you're like, let's squeeze something a little in here, and then Then the bottom
You
of the
ruined
bun.
it. You ruined it.
No brownie points for me. But anywho,
I think that has to be related to you got the anointing from Michael's hand in
oh
class.
yes, that was in class. That was an inside joke for all the people at Jesus School. Y'all probably know that inside joke, but my wife can literally cook amazing food. Yeah, like it's always a joy now to just be there. And my wife's like, "All right, babe, don't worry. I'm gonna handle lunch. I'm gonna handle dinner," and I'm just like, "Ooh, what are we having?" And it's just good. So I would say that's been one of the glorious expectation versus reality moments.
That's true.
for me.
I honestly didn't think that I'd be able to cook. I mean, I don't think I cook good, honestly, now, but better than I thought I would go this far.
Guys, she went far because I just want to let you guys know, give you some insight. Before we were married, I wanted coffee.
Oh my gosh.
And Gabby,
This is embarrassing.
so Gabby comes, she's like, I'm gonna make you some coffee, it's gonna be all right. So she comes back up and she's like, babe, am I doing it right? And she shows me the dispenser, like, you know, where you go and pour the coffee out of. She puts water there, and then she put the coffee grounds in the little filter bag and put it on the coffee, but the water was not on the actual machine. It was in the jug. And so I looked at her very puzzled, and then I couldn't help but laugh at the fact that she didn't know how to operate a coffee machine. But guys, like, you know, I'm sure one of y'all that are watching this video have been through that, you know, some very silly moments.
Probably not. Okay.
And so,
I got enough embarrassing.
This is the sandwich effect that I was talking about.
Oh my gosh.
But hey, they're laughing, I think.
Oh man.
So babe, what about you? What
Okay,
about?
my turn. I'm gonna throw another one. And if you guys have been watching our vlogs, you'll know this one. So.
Is it the towel?
No.
No,
You
not
don't
the
do that
towel?
anymore. His pooping times.
Bruh. She's gonna, wow.
I have to say it because like it still takes forever, and that's something I didn't expect that he'd live in the bathroom.
Guys,
you know?
we could FaceTime.
But I've heard that a lot of
We're
men
in the
do that.
technological world now.
I've heard that a lot of men do it, so I guess it's a common thing. But I didn't expect to not see
So
my
what was your
husband.
expectation? What was your expectation, honestly?
Like 10 minutes.
Like 10 minutes pooping
Yeah.
time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, but I didn't know that you actually like watch movies in there, that you read books, that you do whatever you do in there.
So guys, the
So-
reality is that although I have a great metabolism and bowel movements, you know, I'm always pooping at least once or twice a day. It just takes me a while to actually do the action. And so I might be sitting there minimum 15 to 20 minutes unless I really gotta go. Actually, props to Japanese toilets. I will always and forever market Japanese toilets because of their seat warmers and their bidet. A bidet?
I have no idea what it's called.
She knows what the bidet is. But anywho, so before we were married, one of the things that I was so looking forward to like the most is actually being able to shower together. And so like your boy was like, yo, da-da-da, we finna shower. I'm gonna behold her in all her glory and the beauty, and it's just gonna be amazing, you know? And what ends up happening is, well, when we're married, what was it? I think you ended up mentioning like, okay, you're just gonna go shower and then I'll shower like afterwards or something. And here in my head, I'm like, yo, we're married now. I mean, I know we've only been married for a few hours, but we trying to, you know, I'm trying to set the foundations right. Guys, like, it's all about the foundation. You know, you're not gonna set a foundation on sand. It won't land. It won't last. But see, I set the foundations on the rock. And so since then, there's only been what, like 5 days? Yeah, 5 days out of our entire marriage, 7 months and 4 days and
Only
2
5.
hours and 40 something.
Oh my gosh, stop.
There's only been 5 days where we actually did not shower together.
That's true.
And the first time that it did happen, I remember my wife actually was like, the reality was that my wife was like, babe-o, you're not here. And it makes me sad. You know, because we get great quality talking time. I get to help her not use the shower for like
That's
a long
true.
time. So we get to save on the water bill. So men, if y'all are about to get married or in marriage, like, set the foundation right. Shower
No,
with
it's
your
true.
girl.
It's definitely a good time for us to bond and be, you know, intimate and stuff. What husband and wife do. But anywho.
Yes.
That's a good one. I honestly didn't think that we showered together for that, like, every day, but I like that you've set that pattern up. You know, as long as I'm here and not, you know, out of town, we usually will make sure that we get in bed together on time and shower together, which has been really helpful.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good one. We don't think about that oftentimes. Yeah, wow. We've always, like, just slept usually at the same time. Unless I sleep first and then you're watching, like, a vlog.
But I think it's good. I know some couples, I mean, those watching that are married, you probably don't, some do. But I think there's a benefit to it. I recently read an article. There's an Instagram profile called Beating 50%, and I love their profile. You should check it out. They're all about supporting, especially, like, newlyweds. But they talked about how, like, there's a study shown that when couples sleep in the same time, there's more intimacy and bond in it. So it's been good. I like it. And we get to wake up similar and, like, spend alone time and just being able to share that as well. I think it's
like
good.
that. Well, guys, she doesn't actually realize or know that since she's a deep sleeper, there are times at night, like at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m., that I just get out of bed and hop on some video games with the boys. No, I'm just kidding. I don't do that. That would be
but I think
funny.
I know what your next expectation versus reality is going to be.
What do you think it is?
Well, it's my turn, so I'm not going to say it anymore, but I think I know what yours is going to be. Okay, I'm going to do something positive. Positive.
See, I've done nothing but positive. What? Do you see this, y'all?
Maybe I just had more expectations. Just kidding. Okay, so an expectation. Well, I guess this is something that was met. It was an expectation, and I think it over-exceeded the expectation. And I would say that's our prayer time together. And I know in the beginning we had some kind of, like, I guess, misview on it, because I remember in the beginning...
There were little bumps on the road.
We had some bumps where, like, you know, I remember, I think this was, like, our first month getting married, but I had asked, you know, to pray for me. But Michael, in his mind, thought that praying for me by himself was enough. But, like, I really liked it when you actually, like, prayed with me physically. And so we had to talk that through. And, guys, I think that's also important throughout your marriage is communication, because we may have expectations that our spouses don't know.
Yeah.
And as long as we just, like, communicate it and work together, and it's done. Like, now, what started off being, like, not an expectation that was met ends up over exceeding it. Like, now Michael's always reminding, like, hey, we need to pray together, and, like, setting time. And so it's kind of, like, over exceeded my expectation now, where we actually are intentional with praying and sharing our times alone with God. And it's honestly been, like, a blessing, and I love it. Yes. I love it when my man prays with me.
Yes.
And for me.
Yes. Guys, like, highly recommend that you pray over your wife, over your family, over your kids. We don't have kids yet, but I can't wait. Chinese Puerto Rican babies. Gonna be cute. But expectation versus reality number 3. So she actually got it correctly, spot on. So at least I think she got it spot on. I don't know her mind yet right now. But my expectation was, so before we were married, there was, you know, as singles, you have so much time to do a lot of things. You don't realize it until you're married. But once you're married, you start realizing, like, man, I had a lot of freedoms before we were married.
Oh my gosh!
So one of those. But hey, there's great freedom in marriage as well. I'm just saying. Your boy Paul, you know, in 1 Corinthians 7, he says it, you know, better to be single so you can be fully devoted to the Lord. And you can still be fully devoted to the Lord, but he's talking about, you know, I'm segueing into something else. We'll talk about that later. But my expectation was that I like to play board games. I like to hang out with some friends of mine, and we love to play board games. But when we play board games, we tend to go for pretty late, like into the night. Like we can go into like 2 a.m.
That's true.
3 a.m. sometimes, just in there fellowshipping. You know, we'll talk about Jesus while we play board games and massacre one another in the board games, depending on the board game.
Just define your board game time.
Right. And so the reality is that I can't have that long of a time now with my board games. Like, there's a curfew, you know? The reality is, like, not that Gabby is setting it, but, like, it's like, it's first started with, like, an internal thing in my mind where it's like, okay, I feel like the Holy Spirit is telling me, if I do not leave right now, like, if I don't get out of the house, of my friend's house at, like, 11:45 or 12, there's gonna be a reckoning.
Oh
you
my
know?
God.
And so like
This is why you need a spirit-led
you know,
man.
and I'm paying heed to this to his voice. I'm like, gentlemen, I must depart. You know, it's great games, but I must, you know, have a wife to tend to. And then I go and I drive back home, and it works out perfectly because I heeded his voice. And so that's honestly one of the expectation versus realities that I didn't realize would actually happen.
That's good. Yeah.
Like, as much as I do want to spend more time, it's a sacrifice, but it's a worthwhile sacrifice because, again, I want there to be peace in the home, and I want to honor her as well. And so if she appreciates me being at home during a time where she's able to sleep with me, like at the same time, then I want to be able to honor that. It's not that I'm whipped. Your boy ain't whipped. I'm just simply I just want to honor my wife and love her rightly. So
thank you, babe.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That's a good one.
Oh, she's gonna kiss me after the video. So, oh, just kidding.
During the video.
Oh, snap. But that was my theory expectation versus reality.
I thought you were gonna say actually the sleeping. My cranky. Well, how you get.
Oh, guys, bonus time.
We'll do a bonus one.
So the bonus one, expectation versus reality. So my expectation was that we would be able to be sleeping soundly. So this week, actually, there was a point, again, where this happened. And she was full-blown in a dream. And all of a sudden, she's like kicking the bed. And I'm like, I wake up. I'm like, why? What's going on? Are you okay? She does not respond. She, like, maybe a minute later, kicks the bed again. And this time, And so I'm just like, what's up with this sound? So she keeps kicking it in 1 minute intervals.
I guess I'm a fighter.
Yeah, she is fighting. But it was funny because in my thought, I'm like, she has to be dreaming. She has to be dreaming. And then suddenly she utters the words, Babo. And that's my nickname. You know, that's my cute nickname. You know, like in marriage, you come up with nicknames for each other. Yes. Honey boo, sugar boo, all kinds of things. But anyway, when she said Babo, I knew that I'm like, Lord, am I doing something wrong to her in the dream? Because like I've got to dip, you know, I got to enter that dream and somehow make things right.
But Michael was in the dream.
I continue to move forward and
yeah.
not wait for her, and so that's what she was like, Babo, and then she was trying to kick me in real life.
I know.
And so I was
not
guilty.
A failed reality. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Gotta pray for me.
I do.
I will be not a fighter.
I do. But the reality is that she hasn't done that a lot of times. But when she does, it's really funny now.
Okay, so my turn now.
Bonus time.
Another one. I think getting into marriage, I don't know, we had premarital counseling and we talked a lot how like it's gonna be honeymoon time all the time, which it is. But like when Michael would always be like, it's gonna be honeymoon every day, I had this perception that we would come into marriage so easily, no conflicts, we'll be so like kind and unselfish and just like, here, you can have everything I have, you know? But it turns out like getting to marriage, like it was not like that. There was a lot of struggles that God had to work for both of us.
Yeah.
And I think like when we get married, we know the concept of marriage, that two become one. But there is this process of like having to actually learn and remember, like practically learn that we are one, right? And I think one of the first things that God taught both of us, I would say, is like everything that we own belongs to each other.
Yes.
And so like I know even for me, like I had struggles too, you know, where like there was times where like I would have to, you know, use my money to pay bills, for example, that Michael had. And I'm just like, and I had this like feeling like, wait, what am I doing? But it's in those moments where I realized like, no, like we're one now, you know, we're here to give of each other. But anyway, so one of the expectations I had, I think Michael knows where I'm going to, was... Is
it the car? Is it vroom vroom? It's the car. I know exactly
okay,
where we're going with this.
I'll give Michael some credit in that, like, I've had bad accidents, guys. Like, I had bad accidents where Michael's, like, an amazing driver. But my expectation was, like, his car is my car and, like, I can just pick it up and use it. Well, guys, the first time in our marriage when I had to use the car, I was like, yeah, babe, so I'm going to take the car. And Michael's like, why don't you use your car? And guys, husbands, that's the wrong thing you don't want to say to your wife. You don't say, why don't you take your own car?
It's like I felt like I was being tested. I felt like this was a ploy on my life, and I was like, why can't you just take your car? You know, you're more comfortable at driving your car than my car.
Stop justifying it.
But no, y'all, I was selfish. There was some, although I was very scared because of the fact that she has so many accidents. The reality was that regardless whether she takes my car or her car, it's ours now. So it's our cars. And if something happens, we still have another car to drive, and it works perfectly fine. And so there were things where like I was clinging on to that were absolutely just not right. And so I had to repent of that. And we argued, like we had a argument time, and I'm just like, oh man, Lord, what I get myself into.
But it's a learning process.
But it was a learning process. You know, I had to learn like to just go low and just to be like, you know, I messed up.
Yeah, and I think that's what sometimes when we get into marriage, we think like because we know book knowledge, like what marriage is and what we're supposed to do. But then when you're faced in that situation, it's that like tug in your flesh, like oh gosh, this is a stretch, this is uncomfortable.
And the truth is, like, I was holding something against you. I was holding all of your past accidents against you, and it's like Jesus doesn't hold our sin against us. Like, he forgive us and puts it as far as he's from the west. And
but not even that, but also thinking in regards to like, you know, everything that we have is for each other. You know, not withholding things. You know, because like let's say if I got in the car accident but it was my own car, well, like it's your car too, technically.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Like, what am I gonna do? Like, am I gonna say, well, you can't drive this car because like that's not what's gonna happen.
And I think that was one of the biggest things that we had to learn was like selfishness, and it's like something that we don't want to like actually view ourselves like, oh, I'm selfish, but sometimes we are without us realizing. And God has been using our marriage to purify things where we're like, because even for me, like I told you guys with the finances, like I had the thought like, oh, I have to pay bills, like his bills, you know, and like all these things coming in, but then like, wait, that's not his bills, like it's our bills, you know, like we're in this life together, we're journeying together. Amen. And so, and I know that this whole expectations versus reality is going to continue on, like it's a journey and we're learning together. And I think there has been moments where I would look back and be like, man, when we dated, we didn't have any arguments, there's no tension, everything seemed good. But when I really think about it, I'm really thankful for now, because when things are going well, it's easy to love anyone. Like anyone can love anyone when you're just going out and eating and going to Disney and having fun. But if you can really like love someone even during bad moments, and that's what Michael's always done with me, like no matter if I've had like moments of sadness, anxiety, or when I threw up in the bathroom that one night and you stayed and slept next to me, like to me, like I feel
on
like
the floor.
Yeah. That's another we'll save that for another video in our vlogs. We'll mention it. But we did forget. But like through our marriage now, like through the struggles that we faced and like seeing Michael's love for me, like I see his love even more now than before. Even though like things have been not always smooth and there has been bumps, like I actually appreciate them. And I was telling Michael that I think it's important as a married couple to not just focus on like the battles but the wins. You know, because like sure, we're all gonna have battles, and Jesus even says like you're gonna have trouble, like take heart, you will have trouble. But he promises that like as long as Jesus is with us and we're always centering him, like we come out victorious. And so now like I don't count the battles, but I celebrate the wins. And I think as a married couple, we're gonna have expectations that our spouses will not meet. That's just the reality, guys. Sorry to burst that bubble, because I had the thought like everything's gonna be great, which it is, but like there are gonna be times where they don't meet your expectations. And what do you do about that? You communicate it, for one. We ask God's perspective. We get into prayer. We learn to give of ourselves, because that's really what love is. It's sacrificial. And then we celebrate the win and we come out stronger. Man.
And God makes everything beautiful in his time. So if the expectation is the reality of the expectation is not quite there yet, you know, if you're expecting your wife or your husband to be a master chef, hey, you know, go through the time to train them and raise them up well, so that they can, you know, make an awesome flambe. I'm using terminology that I don't quite understand. All the chefs understand. But pretty much it's, just let God set everything right, like in his time, in his proper time. But as long as we are looking towards God for his perspective on every matter, on every battle, on everything that we tend to may have conflict over, like God's perspective will always triumph. And as you set up systems that will enable proper communication and love to flow through, then it almost makes it's like every conflict is now a point of getting closer together, because we're able to tackle something that came up and we're able to solve it with the Lord. And so, sorry guys, but we've actually been reading this book too that has really helped us. Advertisement alert. But this is a book that we've been reading that has been so helpful in our marriage.
But like every week we'll be intentional. We try once a week to read through and communicate how we can better love one another. And like what you said, the systems. And I think that's really helpful. And Michael's great at like making sure that we both communicate things. And this book has always been so spot on. So I would recommend you all to, for those who are married or even getting in the process of about to be married, your engagement, definitely pick up this book.
Called Praying Circles Around Your Marriage by Joel and Nina Schmidtgall and Mark Batterson. I think forward by Mark Batterson.
Yes.
Yeah, so y'all, that was today's segment of expectations versus reality. We want to know from you guys, what were your expectations and in regards to marriage, and what was the reality like? Make sure that when you post them, you have your significant other hidden or blocked from that so that they don't actually see your posts. And I'm totally kidding. And if you're not married yet, what are some of your expectations? Guys, God bless you. This has been a joy.
And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are trying to hit 100 subscribers.
Yes, 100. I don't know.
0. Knuckles. Put Knuckles. There you go.
Yes. Well, guys, God bless you and take care. Bye.